Hey everybody, it's time to wrap up some more reading, some more 2020 reading. I have a stack of amazing books to tell you about and I cannot wait. So let's get started. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you doing today? I hope you guys are doing really well. As always, I hope your reading is going fantastically. My life has been a whirlwind over the last few weeks. Lots of ups, lots of downs. I'm not feeling 100%, so I'm trying to recover from that. So there is so much stuff going on, but I'm hoping that things are going to calm down a little bit in the weeks to come because I have so many books that I want to read right now and I just have not had time. But I have read a good stack of books that I cannot wait to tell you about. So as always, get out your pen, get out your paper, get out your Goodreads. However you keep track of your TBR, please get ready. If you are so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore and or have your library get you a copy if that is how you get the books in your hand, because I have a feeling you're going to want a lot of these. The first book I'm going to tell you about is an adorable picture book that is coming out from Little Bee Books, and that is Uncle Bobby's Wedding. This is words by Sarah S. Brannen, pictures by Lucia Soto. How adorable is this? The artwork is so cute, you guys. It is just beyond belief adorable. Let me hold that up for you. I kind of think that Uncle Bobby looks a little bit like me when I had more hair and less gray in my beard. This is the adorable story of this little young lady here, Chloe, who is almost like best friends with her Uncle Bobby. They do a lot of stuff together. She has a relationship with him that she utterly depends on when he announces that he is going to get married. And she becomes worried that she's going to lose her uncle. And this is just a story about learning how important family is, and how when you add members to your family, it makes it even more special. And it is cute and it is adorable and the artwork is so good. And I absolutely loved it. Now this comes out May 5th, 2020, which happens to be my sister's birthday. So it is one of those that you're gonna wanna pre-order for the young reader in your life, or if you are just one of those people that likes to read books like this and enjoy the art, this is a book you are definitely want to get your hands on. And that is Uncle Bobby's Wedding by Sarah S. Brannen, pictures by Lucia Soto, out on May 5th, 2020, I believe, from Little Bee Books. Thank you to Little Bee Books and my friend Matthew Sharapa for getting that into my hands when they did. It was adorable. I absolutely loved it. We're going to go a little science fiction fantasy now and talk about The Deep. This is by Rivers Solomon with David Diggs, William Hudson, and Jonathan Snipes. Now, the last three gentlemen are a part of the group Snip. Is that what it's called? I am totally blanking on the name of their band. Clip, maybe. Clip? So The Deep is a sci-fi novel about a group of people that live under the ocean that are sort of like mer people. They have fins and you can sort of see. And what we find out is they are actually the descendants of pregnant slaves that were thrown overboard into the ocean as the slave ships were coming from Africa to America. And our main character is the historian of this culture. There is only one, and she keeps all of the memories for the entire society in her head. And the reason that she does that is it keeps sort of the bad thoughts out of the day-to-day of the people living life. And it is very overwhelming for her. It causes her a lot of pain. And at the beginning of the novel, she has actually sort of gotten to a point where she can't really handle it anymore. Now there's this ceremony that goes on one time a year where she gives all the memories back to the people and she sort of gets to take a break. And when that happens this time, she winds up going away and having some time away from her people, away from the overwhelming memories of their past. And she meets land people, people on the land. She meets someone that she sort of grows attached to. And this book is all about relationships, history, the importance of history, history, to a people, to a person, and it is freaking fantastic. Now, this book is based on the song that is by the band that these three gentlemen are in. And I recommend reading the book, then listening to the song. For me, that had a lot of poetic power. There is also, I think, a group of photos or an art installation of some sort that went on that then inspired the song that inspired the book. And so Rivers Solomon wrote the book in response to the song. And this is their sort of step in this artistic process. Now, you guys really remember Rivers Solomon. They wrote, Ghosts, give me the name. Oh, I cannot remember the name of her. What is the name of the book? I apologize, guys. It says it's like the Ghosts of the Starship or something like that. I really apologize. But Rivers Solomon knocks us out of the park. They are a great writer. This is a great story. Absolutely loved it. It is a fantastic audiobook. It is read by Daveed Diggs. Daveed Diggs was the original Thomas Jefferson / Lafayette from the Hamilton musical. So if you guys may recognize him from there, all of this whole experience was worth the minutes. So that's The Deep by Rivers Solomon with Daveed Diggs, William Hudson, and Jonathan Snipes. Okay, now we go into a book that I didn't know exactly how I was going to react to. I was super, super excited about it, but this author is ridiculously intellectual and so smart, and his language is so phenomenal that I'm sometimes worried that I am not going to be intellectually up for the challenge. But I adored Cleanness by Garth Greenwell. Big thank you to FSG. They actually sent me a pre-copy and this finished copy of the novel. And I actually got to see Garth Greenwell at Green Apple Books on the Park with my friend Ryan and Sarah at Hardcover Hearts just a couple weeks ago, and it was fantastic. Now, how to describe this book? This is the story of a man who lives in Bulgaria. He is a teacher. He is a U.S. citizen who's there. He's teaching English to students, and this is really short stories where, that's not even the right word, but each chapter focuses on a different relationship of some sort that he has had while in Bulgaria as he prepares to leave the country. And these relationships are political in nature, friendship in nature, sexual in nature. Garth Greenwell really writes about visceral sex in such a way that has such poetic power, and at times it can be a little bit overwhelming, but just the pure artistry of his writing is worth every minute in this book. I will tell you, he reads the audiobook as well, so if that's up your alley, you want to hear the author read it, it is definitely worth it. I think this book is a masterpiece. I think that this book should win tons of awards. I think this book presses boundaries. Yeah, it is freaking amazing. So that is Cleanness by Garth Greenwell, out now from FSG. Highly recommended if you are into sort of those books that just make you think and enjoy language and enjoy the art of the novel. That book's for you. Okay, the next book I picked up, I had wanted to read. I read a review of it somewhere. I think it was Publishers Weekly. I'm not sure. But then I saw that it was on the long list for the Penn Faulkner Award, and that's A People's History of Heaven by Mathangi Subramanian. And I really apologize. I have practiced that name 100,000 times. I envy people that can just say everybody's name with no problem whatever. And she is actually a PhD. She's a doctor, and I think she's local to me because I got this at my local Books Inc. and it was signed, so that's always really nice. This is the story of a slum in India that is inhabited by a group of 5 young women that are friends and their mothers. And this is the story of the fact that the city, the government, has come in with the intention of knocking down their slum, which is the Sanskrit word for heaven, and to destroy it, and how these young women and their mothers are going to stand up for that. But what it really focuses focuses on are these young women and their relationships with each other, and also how they become who they are. We have one young woman who is blind. She cannot see, so it talks about her. She's sharp as a whip. She goes to school, but then she's taken out once it's determined that she can't see, and her parents don't want to send her away to a special school for blind people, so she stays at home. We have a transgender young woman and the story of her sort of coming of age and coming of understanding of herself. We have a young woman who's not good at school, but was one of those people that just has a brilliant talent outside. She can build things and she's artistic. And we have all of their mothers and grandmothers and stories about them. So it's like one of those books that just sort of envelops you in the lives of these people that it's just so great. The characters are great. The world is great. The descriptions are great. The ending to me did become a little bit too tie it all up in a bow sort of thing. And you know how that is. That for me, I like a little bit of a darker ending, but that did not take away from my enjoyment of the overall story here. And this book actually inspired an entire video on novels from India. So there you go. And that's A People's History of Heaven by Mathangi Subramanian. And this is out now. You can get your hands on it right now. Okay, loved that book. Okay, this book is actually coming out also in May 2020, and this is The Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner. This is out from St. Martin's Press. This was, when I read this book, this was just the book that I needed. This takes place right after World War II. We have an eclectic group of characters that are all in different ways in love with the novels of Jane Austen. We also have family members from Jane Austen's family that own sort of the estate, and we learn a little bit about their sort of economic troubles. We also learn about sort of what it's like to live where an icon of literature lives and sort of the annoyance of all of the people that come up. But what this book is really about is, what I love about Jane Austen is the people, right? For me, her plots are usually pretty straightforward. They're a little bit thin, but it's really about the characters and the people. No one forgets Elizabeth Bennet. No one forgets Emma, Fanny Price. You know, they're just people that are in your heads. I mean, Mr. Darcy is one of those things that even if you haven't read Pride and Prejudice, there are people who know who Mr. Darcy is. They step off the page. This book is a lot about the people. The plot is very straightforward. It's about a group of people that want to create a society to recognize Jane Austen. This is not based on any historical sort of society that exists nowadays. These people are all fictitious, other than sort of the people that are in her family that are pulled, and the world, not the world, the houses and the cottages and stuff, they're real. We have a starlet from the US who's in love with Jane Austen, who comes over and with the intention of sort of buying up stuff. She's in a relationship that we later learn is not everything that it is. We have a man who runs into her one day at the very start of the book and is inspired to pick up a Jane Austen novel and finds out he loves her, reads all of her books every year. We have a doctor who is very influential in the town, who has lost his wife, and his fascination with Jane Austen. We have a young teacher who is sort of being pushed out of her job for her radical ways. She winds up getting pregnant, marrying the love of her life, who unfortunately goes off to war and passes. And this is about how Jane Austen and this society saves her. This book was just what I need. This was just a warm hug of people. There was a lot ups and downs, but in sort of like the happiness and trials and tribulations. But in the end, this is a book about people who love books. It's a book about people who love Jane Austen. And it's a book that just sort of celebrates that there are those of us in the world that love authors and what they do. I loved it. I thought it was excellent. I highly recommend it if you like good, solid historical fiction, which is just about lovely people and you just really want to get lost in their lives. I highly, highly recommend The Jane Austen Society by Natalie Jenner. This comes out in May 2020 from St. Martin's Press. Please pick this up. Pick it up. You will not be disappointed. And I'm looking at you, Mammy. This is a book. It's a book for you. Trust me. I know you do. That's a book for you. Last but not least is a book that's coming out on March 31st, 2020, and that's Hex by Rebecca Dinerstein Knight, and this is coming out from Viking. How striking is this cover? Okay, so I did not know what to expect, and when I got this book, I thought I really liked the idea behind it. So we are in an academic college setting, Columbia University, I believe, where at the very beginning that we know that we're in a lab where people study poisonous plants, and a young woman has died because she came in contact with one of the poisons. And the rest of the lab winds up getting dismissed because of the safety issues of their work. And a lot of them just plain expelled. Our main character is a young woman in that lab who is 100% obsessed with the professor that teaches her, that's sort of her mentor through all of this. She's been expelled though. There's no reason for her to stay around except her utter obsession with this woman. She has some friends that she's sort of convinced, and they're all in this one class together, and we learn a little bit about each of them. And they're not only their obsession with the teacher, but their obsession with each other. Our main character has recently, I'm not great on names, and she's the one writing the book. So what the book is told in sort of a narrative style, like our main character is writing a diary to this woman that she's obsessed with. That sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? That sort of stylistic choice just was perfect for the obsessive voice in this book. And really, this is about a young woman that's trying to figure out what to do with the fact that she's obsessed with this woman. All sorts of stuff happen. Her best friends winds up being challenged by this professor, and she winds up dating his husband. The professor winds up in a relationship with someone, and that causes issues. This book is about all of that utter weirdness, and it's all backdropped on the science of all these plants that if you ingest them or touch them just wrong will kill you at any minute. Our main character winds up having to move out of the dorm and or the house that she shares with her boyfriend, and she never gets furniture until people buy it for her, so she sleeps on the ground. But she takes all these seeds and plants all these poisonous plants in her house. It's so weird, perfectly weird. It's so good. When I started reading it, it had a lot of the same tone. If you guys liked The People in the Trees by Hana Yanagihara, it sort of had that same sort of scientific tone to it. If you like books told sort of in a diary format, but it's a little bit different because the diary is being written to a woman that the main character is utterly obsessed with. So it's got sort of a creepiness to it. And the professor is not a great person. There is so much to unpack in this book, and it is freaking brilliant. I loved it to death. And that is Hex by Rebecca Dinerstein Knight, out on March 31st, 2020 from Viking. I don't know that I did a great job just sort of telling you enough about it because there's so much to talk about, but I loved this book, and I hope you all read it, and I hope you like weird, crazy characters and scientific backdrops, and it's just so good. It's so good. So this is my little stack of books. I'm not going to be able to put the children's book on here, I don't think, and have it fall off. There we go. How's that? That's cute. That I have read lately. I hope every single one of them winds up on your guys' TBR, because in my opinion, they are all absolutely worth it reading. Bye!